Welcome to Buy, Sell, Hold. I'm Mark Green from the Cars Yeah podcast.
And I'm Keith Martin from Sports Car Market. This is show number 22.
Welcome to Buy, Sell, Hold, the Sports Car Market podcast. Market experts and car friends for over 30 years, Keith Martin and Mark Green have come together through their mutual love for collector cars. Keith and Mark will take you on a ride into the collector car market, talking with industry experts, helping you navigate your collector car journey so that you know when to make your own decisions to buy, sell, or hold.
Buy, Sell, Hold is all about what we like to call the essence of collecting. The collector car world is comprised of people who buy, they sell, and they hold the cars they love. Here on Buy, Sell, Hold, Keith and I talk with industry leaders, collectors, auction houses, consignors, sellers, and much more who are experts in the industry. So Keith, who do we have the honor of talking with today?
Mark, today it's my good friend John Kruse, who is the co-owner of Worldwide Auctioneers.
Very cool. Well, let's rock and roll.
John, let's jump right in. If you could describe the collector car market today using just one word, what would that word be and why?
Great question, Keith. And I think the word I would select is fulfilling. And I use that word because that's how I feel. That's what I encourage everybody, and regardless of what walk of life they're in, and if they're not getting fulfillment out of what they do, they might ought to consider doing something different. And it doesn't matter if it's connecting with friends and fellow car lovers, or if it's getting behind the wheel or getting in a passenger seat. There's just so much about this industry that is fulfilling that I think it's very fitting, and that's my word.
Fulfilling is probably the most unique word we've heard so far on the show, especially during this very odd time of pandemics. But it's encouraging. It makes me smile because most of our other guests, of course, it's been challenging for many, many people, but I love the optimism here, John. And let me tell our listeners a little bit more about John before we jump into some of the questions we have for him today. John Kruse, as we said, is a co-owner of Worldwide Auctioneers. He grew up in the auction industry, refining his skills at some of the biggest auction companies in the country. As a buyer, seller, consultant, and auctioneer, he has been actively involved with vintage motor cars and collection management for his entire life, combining an exhaustive knowledge of the market and unyielding integrity and a hands-on commitment to delivering the best results possible. There's that word, fulfilling. Expert and accessible. He's a passionate car enthusiast who's a familiar face in Concours events, club events, shows across the country. We'll be back to talk with John some more, but sit tight. We have a special offer from our team at Sports Car Market Magazine. We'll be right back.
The 4th annual Saratoga Motorcar Auction will take place on Friday, September 18th and Saturday, September 19th. It will be held at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center in the beautiful Saratoga Spa State Park located in upstate New York. Presented by the Saratoga Automobile Museum, a not-for-profit institution, this live event continues to be the premier collector car auction for the northeastern United States. Proceeds from the auction help support the museum's educational programs and exhibits that engage, educate, and inspire the automotive community. To consign your vehicle, view current inventory, and register to bid, visit SaratogaMotorCarAuctions.org. There you can learn how finance partner JJ Best Bank and insurance partner Hagerty can help put you in your dream vehicle. That's SaratogaMotorCarAuctions.org. Are you thinking of buying a car at an online auction, but worried about how to make a good decision? I'm Keith Martin from Sports Car Market, and I'm here to tell you about an exciting new product we've developed to help you be a smarter collector. The SCM Guide to Buying Online is an immediate digital download. It includes 5 questions to always ask, and why. Also, how to protect yourself while buying online from our Legal Files columnist John Dranius. And our auction editors walk you through what you can and can't learn from a photo. Visit www.sportscarmarket.com/buyingonline to purchase your copy today. It's an immediate digital download, and it's only $10. Again, that's www.sportscarmarket.com/buyingonline, and get ready to be a smarter collector.
All right, we're back. So Keith, Take it away.
So, John, today we're going to talk about three important vehicles in your life. A very special vehicle that you bought, one that you sold, and one that you would never let go of. Let's start with the year, make, and model of a vehicle that was very special to you on the buy side. What was the car, and what was the purchase process? Was it simple? How long did you have to chase the car before you got it?
Yes, well, we've all got some great stories about chasing cars, and there's a clear favorite for me is a 1929 Duesenberg Model J that I'd wanted for a while, and ultimately to get it, I had to go to the farm that it was sitting on, and I spent 3 full days with the owner and actually worked in the farming operation for most of those days as we would continue to talk. And finally, by the end of the third day, he said, "Okay, you can buy my Duesenberg." And so we did the deal. But it was a lot of fun. It was a tough process. I didn't plan to go work on a farm, but fortunately, being from Indiana, I grew up on a farm and worked on farms a lot. So I was able to jump right in with a little knowledge. But that was definitely the most fun I had chasing down buying a car.
John, what was his initial reluctance to sell the car?
Well, his reluctance to sell was it was the only Model J that he'd ever owned, and a lot of folks never get the opportunity to own certain cars, and that might be one of them. And his thought was, hey, as soon as I sell this car, I will probably never have a Model J Duesenberg again. And so that sentiment, which a lot of us have had on a lot of cars, was his main reluctance in letting go of that piece.
Wow, that's incredible. Have you ever had that kind of experience, Keith?
Oh, I have. I mean, people, especially older people who've had a car for a long time, they're not really collectors. They just have a special car. It's almost like a part of their family.
Yeah, absolutely. There was an old Porsche for sale here on an island near my home, and I went over there with 2 friends to look at it. And we spent 2.5 hours sitting with the man in his kitchen while his wife made us breakfast before we even got into the garage to look at the car. He wanted to size us up before he'd let us see his car.
John, was price much of an option here or much of a question here? I mean, did you guys have to dicker a lot before you came to a final price?
We didn't have to go back and forth too much, and he was pretty receptive to what the market was at the time, and so was I. Nobody was trying to get too much or pay too little. So I think the tougher part there was just him letting go, and obviously that's not always the case. A lot of times price is the biggest problem, but in this case it was really letting go once he did, and we didn't have to argue about the price.
So John, looking back on this, are you happy with the price you ended up paying for the car?
I am, and I think that most everyone recognizes that the market goes up, the market goes down, it fluctuates, things change. And so as long as, you pay, and in this case, I paid a market correct price at the time, I wanted the car. So I'm not disappointed or upset ever with what I pay for a car. Sometimes you buy too early and sometimes you sell too late, but I wanted the car. That was the fulfilling part of it. And the price, to a degree, was secondary.
Well, let's talk about a significant vehicle that you've owned and sold. What was that vehicle? What was the decision to let it go? And were you happy with the process of selling it?
Sure. Well, I would say that the most difficult decision I had to make to sell a car was a 1963 Maserati Sebring Coupe. And I love that car. And it was just dialed in right. A lot of times we'll have even the same year, make, model, and some cars just run well and some just don't. And this car was just a wonderful car to drive, probably the favorite car just for going out and driving that I've had. And when we entered the 2008 economic crisis, the decision was made to sell that car and a couple other ones, but that one is particularly saddening. And we put that money into our business to make sure that we could weather some storms and and get through things. So that was a really hard decision to make, and it was tough.
How did you come about deciding on the selling price? And it's kind of probably a silly question for a guy like you who've bought and sold so many vehicles and seen so many cars go through your auction. But at the time, considering you mentioned it was a difficult time with the economy, how hard was it to come up with a price to sell it for?
Well, it was really simple. I put the car in an auction and I sold it at no reserve.
Oh,
and it was a good auction. It was well advertised, and it was a tough time, but the market's the market, and I knew that by doing that having a good car and a good auction, that it was going to bring what it was worth. So it was really simple, and the car brought what everybody kind of thought, certainly less than what it would have been a year before that, and certainly less than it is now. But it was the right price at that time. So I practice what I preach as an auction guy. I often encourage people to do that. And virtually every time I have sold a car, I do it at auction, and I do it no reserve because I have faith and confidence in the marketplace.
When you had that car, did you drive it a lot? Did you actually use it a lot?
I drove it all the time. I mean, I have a vivid memory. My wife and I hopping in and driving over to the Graybill, Indiana Country Fair, and we had a group of friends we met over there, and we all took turns driving it and hopping around. And I could give you 100 other similar type stories. So we had a lot of fun. We used it. We let other people use it, and we got so much out of that car. It's super fond memories.
Keith, you had a question?
Yeah, John, before we talk about the next vehicle, let's touch for a second on reserve versus no reserve, because I get asked that question all the time. When you're talking to a consignor, what are the things you ask them to consider when they decide whether to sell a car with a reserve or without a reserve? And just for clarification, a reserve means that there's a bottom number at which the car will not be sold. No reserve means the highest bid takes the car, no matter how high or how low the bid is.
Yes. And the first question I ask every seller is, do you really want to sell your car? And some people don't, right? They only want to sell it if they get so much or make so much or what have you. And if they really want to sell their car, the market will in fact pay at a good auction, well advertised auction, what it is. And so the second question I ask them is, well, what do you have in it? Do you have financial obligations? If somebody just took a loan out, or they owe money on it, or have a lien, they're not able to sell it for a certain amount. And a lot of folks end up owning a car a little heavy. So certainly I would not want to put somebody in a bad financial position. But I've been doing this my whole life. And if you have a good car and a well-advertised auction, you just end up doing good. And oftentimes you end up doing great. And the only people that are upset are the ones that have unhealthy expectations. And my last thought is, unfortunately, a lot of times in our industry, people will tell a seller that their car is worth more than it is to try to get a deal. And then it sells for less and they get disappointed. So I always try to be as straightforward as possible and let people think about the downside. Hey, if you sell your car no reserve, here's what I think it might bring. You need to be prepared for that. And so those are some of the processes that I like to go through with people when they're making that kind of decision.
Let's talk about a vehicle that you'll never let go of, something that is just a part of your life. How did you find it, and why is it so important to you?
Well, I would say the answer to that for me, I've got a 1966 Sunbeam Tiger that I'm the second owner of, and it's an original preservation class car. When I grew up, my father always had little British sports cars, and so I grew up buzzing around in those, having fun, and that's kind of one of the most powerful, exciting, smaller cars that has some British sports background to it. But the real reason that I love that car now, I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and when my son was born, my daughter was feeling a little neglected. And I'll never forget this. It was a beautiful February day in Indiana, which doesn't happen all the time. And she'd come up to me and kind of tugged at my pant leg and said, "Daddy, will you take me for a spin in the Tiger?" And I was like, yes, absolutely. And so we have so much fun. When I get home from work at night, my kids want to go for a ride, my wife, and then we'll all pile in and go buzzing down the country roads. And I actually had an opportunity to sell it about a year ago, and much to my disbelief, I ran it past my wife and said, "Hey, this guy really wants to buy this Tiger, and he'll pay a lot for it." And her immediate response was, "How could you even think about that? What would your daughter Goldie say?" And I was like, You're right, dear. I don't know what I was thinking. Let's keep it. So that's the car, and that's kind of why. And again, it's the experience we get out of it. It's not necessarily the most valuable car on the planet, obviously, but the experiences we get out of it is priceless.
So I would assume there is no price that you would part with that car.
I would like to say yes to that. Somebody might convince me to ask my wife again about maybe letting it go, but at this point, I would say I don't want to sell it. Doesn't matter what somebody offers.
Maybe when college looms a little closer, that number could change a
Right.
little bit.
Right.
It's done that for me. Well, let's take a short break, and we have another little offer for you from our team at Sports Car Market. And we come back, we're going to talk with John about the perfect all-around collector car. So sit tight, keep your seatbelt on. We'll be right back.
I'm Keith Martin, and we're going to talk about Cindy Meidel and her company, Car PR USA. For 3 decades, Cindy Meidel has been a driving force within the collector car space. Her company has been an integral part of the launch, growth, and success of many prominent classic car auctions and Concours d'Elegance across the country, as well as during the famed Monterey Car Week. Her agency boasts a list of recognizable clients, offering a balance of public relations, advertising, marketing, and social media, which combined with extensive relationships gives clients maximum exposure and brand identity. If you're ready to launch a new business or event, or need to kick an existing one into overdrive, call Car PR USA today at 480-277-1864. That's 480-277-1864, or email Cindy at carprusa.com.
So, John, we're back. Now, here's your fantasy moment. We'd like to ask you to tell us what your idea of a perfect all-around collector car is. Not the most exotic, not the most valuable, not the most rare, but one that if it were in your garage, each time you looked at it, you thought, man, I want to take that car out and I want to go to a Concours. I want to go to the Copper State. I want to go to a Cars and Coffee. I just want to be in that car. So what, if you could pick any car in the world, what would it be?
That is a tough question, Keith. I would say that it's probably going to be different for everybody. And to put one car into that category, I think my pick is a 1931 Cadillac V12 Phaeton. And the reason I'd pick that car, I certainly from here in the Midwest and Auburn, Indiana, and so classic cars are certainly appreciated around here. But that V12 engine is very reliable. Obviously, a Phaeton, you can put a lot of people in it. You've got trunk space and storage space. You can go on tours. It's still got a lot of cool design, sporty aspects to it with some side curtains. You can drive it in the rain, but you can also put the top down. So you got the open thing going. We can throw the kids in, go get ice cream. But you could also, roll it on to a lot of show fields, and certainly, Cars and Coffee or Kruse ends, and really be kind of a highlight talking point at a lot of those type of events. And so the usability, the look, and the affordability, those aren't cheap cars, but they're not ridiculously expensive that a lot of folks could maybe have a shot at owning one of those. And I actually had the chance to own one of those for a while, and another one that got away, and I'd like to get it back. But I think a 31 Cadillac V12 Phaeton's my pick.
That's great.
Yeah, wonderful car. I'd like to see one of those roll up to a Cars and Coffee. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that, but they are absolutely spectacular. So, Keith, let's talk about John's business and the effect that current market has had on this. So take it away, Keith.
Yeah, tell us, John, because we've seen an unbelievable change in the way business is being done in the collector car market in the past few months. So how is Worldwide adapting to that, and what are your thoughts on how you will be selling cars at auction in the future?
Sure. Well, it is a unique time to be alive and a unique time to be in the collector car business and the auction business. And, one of the most wonderful aspects of auction business is that you are able to adapt and change relatively quickly. And so for me personally, I'm still in my 30s, even though it feels like I've been doing this for decades, which I guess I have. But looking at this as an opportunity. And, I love basketball, being from Indiana. And Johnny Wooden, the great basketball coach, is credited with the saying that when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. And so we've been preparing for times like these for a long time. And our company has been structured to be nimble and to make changes. And so things like, internet auctions. I got to participate in the first live internet auction for cars in the history of the world back when I was in high school, and have been able to be a part of a lot of that. And so, we've got an auction here coming up, and our future auctions that we have on multiple platforms. And as we develop our own internal platform, that really it's still about connecting people. And so my goal is to be a thought leader. My goal is to be a guide and come alongside of the collectors and enthusiasts in our industry. And, being young, I'm in it for the long haul. And so this is just another challenge, and I love a good challenge. And so we're going to be here, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to improve and provide the best service and counsel to people that we can.
So, John, let's be very specific here. The one of the great benefits of a land auction is you can walk up to a car, touch it, feel it, talk to one of your specialists, look under the hood, maybe drive it. How do you create that sense of assurance and confidence on an online bidder?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you one thing, and that is that you can never truly and completely replace a live auction or a live inspection of a car. And so obviously folks can choose to put faith and trust in a professional or someone at an auction company such as myself. But I think that even in our unique time, that allowing for and really setting stage for early inspections, and what we're finding with some of our events and even our private sale division, that folks are taking a little bit more time to schedule that because you have to or they want to. And so the online bidding process is a way to not have as many people together all at once. And if someone is uncomfortable in a larger crowd, regardless of what happens here in the coming months with, protocols, et cetera, you can still come by yourself or with a mechanic or a family member, et cetera, and look at a car and then bid on the internet or bid remotely. And so I think we'll see a lot more of that. We're encouraging that, certainly more photographs, more videos to make things a little bit more virtually inspecting. But, it's a big deal. Virtual tours are important. We've hired a healthcare professional that is really helping us and our clients. Any of our clients can call and talk to them and just kind of go through whatever process is necessary given that.
John, here we are at the end of June. What does Worldwide Auctioneers have planned for the next half of this year?
Sure. Well, as we're recording, we're getting ready for what will be one of the first larger and more publicized auctions. We do have some collector cars, a lot of other items, collectibles, signs, pumps, military type things. And so when this is done, we're actually going to showcase digitally what we did to actually make folks comfortable in a live environment. And so our intent is to provide a safe and comfortable live experience as we march into the future. Obviously, Labor Day weekend in Auburn, Indiana has been going on. It's been a lot of fun and exciting times for folks for many, many decades, and we fully intend to have a live auction, but also have all of those other virtual aspects of it available, whether that be online bidding, telephone bidding, absentee bidding, but also encouraging private showings ahead of time. If you want to drive or fly in, look at it, and then go back home and bid online or bid by phone. So we want to be, again, a leader in providing that safe environment for a live event.
Sounds fantastic. What's the best way for people to learn more about Worldwide Auctioneers?
Well, my favorite way is to actually, see and talk to people in person. And we hope that we'll have more and more opportunities at car events coming up to do that. Certainly, you can get to know us at worldwideauctioneers.com, our website. We have a lot of videos, and you can hear our thoughts, and you can see us and, kind of connect with us that way. Or you can certainly pick up the phone and give us a call. We spend hours a day talking to people, and we love it.
Also, John, you guys have been fabulous supporters and advertisers in Sports Car Market magazine now. And you open up every issue, there's a double page, sometimes a three-page spread on the cars you have and what's coming up. So I'd encourage all our readers, look at those ads and then call you guys. I think I can't stress enough, call Worldwide and tell them what's on your mind. If you have a car you're thinking about selling, chat with them, because it never hurts to learn as much as you can from people who are in the field.
Absolutely. John, you've taken us on an awesome ride today. We know you would. I'll encourage listeners too. I had a talk with John 5 years ago now. I told him in our pre-show chat I need to get him back on Cars Yeah, because he was a very early guest. I think number 271, something like that, way back. So I got to get you back. But I want to thank you for sharing all your knowledge and your very positive outlook. It's very refreshing, given all the things we're going through these days. If you were to offer our listeners one little parting piece of advice about buying, selling, or holding a collector car, what would it be?
I would say that, life is so precious and it's also very short. And I think that we all need to buy what we like. And, we talked about, my Tiger that we have fun with my family in. And, it doesn't really matter what that car's worth to me right now. We're able to enjoy it. We get a lot of fulfillment out of it. And regardless of where the marketplace is, if you bought something you like and you love it and you're enjoying it, then that is what's going to give you the most joy out of these cars. And that's what it's about, right? We really ought to be able to have a fun time. And yes, they're investments, but if you can't have fun, it makes it really tough. So I just encourage everybody, buy what you like.
It's that simple. Yeah, definitely. Listeners, again, you can find everything that John has shared with us today on his show notes page. There's actually two of those. There's one on the Sports Car Market website. You can go there and find that all the other past buy, sell, hold guests that have been on the show, or you can find it on the Cars Yeah website. And by the way, next week on Buy, Sell, Hold, we're going to be talking with John's business partner, Rod Egan. So make sure you tune in for that. John, thanks for being so generous today with your time and your sharing your market experience and expertise with our listeners today. It's been good to catch up with you. Thanks for your very positive outlook. It's been fun.
Thank you, guys. It was great to be on with you.
It's great talking to you, John. I really appreciate your taking the time to be here.
Absolutely. Take care. Hey, Buy, Sell, Hold listeners, don't go away yet. We've got a special offer for you, actually two special offers for you from the team at Sports Car Market Magazine. Here you go. Here's another Buy, Sell, Hold special offer. Do you love knowing what the collector car market has done when it comes to values? Of course you do. The Sports Car Market Platinum Auction Database puts 31 years of auction results right at your fingertips, on your mobile device or your computer, no matter where in the world you are. With nearly 300,000 records, that's right, 300,000, it has the information you need to make an informed decision on that oh-so-important classic or vintage vehicle purchase. You'll receive all this for a mere $5.50 a month. That's less than the cost of a sandwich. As a Buy, Sell, Hold podcast listener, use the code PLAT50, that's right, PLAT 50, to get this special discount. Just go to sportscarmarket.com/platinum50 and the cart will automatically discount your order. Plus, Platinum subscribers also receive access to the full library of back issues of Keith Martin's Insider's Guides, a valuable resource for anyone in the market for collector vehicles. That's sportscarmarket.com/platinum50. Get your discount today. I've been subscribing to Sports Car Market magazine for decades, and it shows up like clockwork in my mailbox every month. But what about when I'm on the road? Did you know that digital subscriptions to Sports Car Market are just $2.50 a month when you sign up with the promo code DIGITAL50? That's less than a cup of coffee. You get 50% off regular price just for listening here to Buy, Sell, Hold. Plus, digital subscribers receive instant access to a year's worth of back issues and the exclusive Insider's Guide, including the 2020 Insider's Guide to the beautiful Amelia Island Concours, and all the spring auctions as well. No more boredom while sitting at the airport or on your flight. To get your Sports Car Market digital subscription at this discount, go to sportscarmarket.com/digital50. Your order will automatically get you the 50% off. What a deal. Go and sign up today at sportscarmarket.com/digital50. Hey, Mark Green here. If you love the Buy, Sell, Hold podcast, you'll want to listen to my Cars Yeah podcast, where over 5 years, I've interviewed over 1,475 inspiring automotive enthusiasts. You'll have free access to my guest shows 5 days a week. These are amazing people who share their world around cars, trucks, and motorcycles. I take a deep dive into their businesses, and they share with you how they've wrapped their passion for vehicles into their lives. Plus, go to the carsyeah.com website and hit the free book button, and I'll email you my free Filler Up book. It's an ebook filled with beautiful fuel filler fun and inspiring quotes from my past guests. Once subscribed, you'll get my weekly blog as well. You can find all the Cars Yeah shows on carsyeah.com or on any mobile device using your podcast app. Just search for Cars Yeah Podcast and subscribe today. That way you'll get both Buy, Sell, Hold with Keith and me and the Cars Yeah Podcast delivered right to your mobile device or your computer. Thanks for listening.
We hope to have shed some light today on the collector car market. You can listen to all the Buy, Sell, Hold podcasts at sportscarmarket.com and carsyeah.com. You'll find hundreds of inspiring automotive enthusiasts on the Cars Yeah website as well. Be sure to log into sportscarmarket.com and subscribe to Keith's SCM weekly newsletter. You'll find digital issues, insider event guides, and price guides, along with our Platinum database, column profiles, classifieds, and many other resources. Join Keith and Mark next week to hear from another automotive industry leader who will help you determine when to buy, sell, or hold.